friends, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. And if you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a subby friend. And if you like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. All right, so I'm coming to you back with our tumbler painted. We have our base paint on there. So now I'm going to move everything around on the video and we are going to glitter this bad boy. Now we are going to put glitter on our tumbler. Now to put glitter on our tumbler, there are a lot of alternatives for this. So I'm just going to show you a few things, okay? So first of all, applicators. So you can use a Mod Podge applicator. Now I like this if I'm for just doing like that first stroke of glue on there, because this gives a nice thin even glue. However, I don't like this for a second layer or if I am sealing my glitter, because I don't like anything to brush once I put glitter on. I want it to pounce. So I either use pouncer sponges or I also use makeup wedges. So these came from the Dollar Tree. I buy them in a bag because, you know, I can use different sides of them and eventually I'm going to, you know, throw it away. So these work well also just to be able to pounce in your glue, or again, pouncer sponges. Now you need something to collect your glitter and be able to put it back in the container because you don't want to waste your glitter. Now I a lot of times will use paper plates, and I will even do work over paper plates, and then I will have wax paper as well. Wax paper works really, really well, you know, because it's easy to just fold and pour it back in. You can use both sides. And I will generally have 2 sheets, if I'm doing one color, at least 2 sheets, but I always have at least an extra sheet because you don't want your glue to be on your glitter paper, so in case you spill something. And then I'm just putting it under here because I want it to flatten out before we use it. Now you can apply your glitter so many ways. Now as far as applying with epoxy, that's going to be a whole nother tumbler. We're not going to do that with this tumbler. With this tumbler, we are going to apply with adhesive. So we have several choices. So we have a spray. Now this is a Loctite spray. You can see I, used it a lot. This is a Mod Podge spray. Out of the two, for me, my favorite is Mod Podge. However, I like this more for sealing than for applying. Now, these sprays do work well. The problem is, A, you can't do it inside your craft room. You need to take your product outside to spray them. And the dry time is so quick, you don't have a lot of room to work with these. So if you're going to use a spray, you need to have everything prepared and ready so that you can come, straight to where you're going to put your glitter on and start applying it, because these will dry very quickly. Now, if you are wanting to really work with something and do a lot to it, these aren't necessarily going to be your best options. However, if you want something to dry super quick, then these are good options, okay? So everything has its place. I don't use these as often for glitter placement. However, they do have a place in my arsenal, okay? And then there's Mod Podge. So I love Mod Podge. Now, sometimes I use Mod Podge just because I feel like using it. Other times I use Mod Podge because I feel like I need to use it. So Mod Podge has a lot more work time available than the sprays do. You can work with it for quite a bit of time. However, it still dries faster than glue. And Mod Podge is really good for things that might be a little bit more challenging to get them to adhere. So a lot of times I will use Mod Podge if I'm using a super chunky glitter, like something that is shapes or something like that. I will use Mod Podge if, you know, maybe I have a tumbler that has a coating over it, but I didn't want to really sand it because I want some of that coating, some of whatever's under that coating to show. Or maybe I'm using a glossy spray paint. Mod Podge works really well for those. And Mod Podge, the nice thing with Mod Podge is it also works for anything else too. So you could use Mod Podge with any of your types of glitter on any of your products. It's going to work. Now, the thing with Mod Podge is you put it on and it gets dry. It feels like it goes from wet to dry. It doesn't really have a tacky time to it. So, and the reason why that is important is because sometimes people want to be able to really press in their glitter. They want to be able to burnish their glitter in, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But this doesn't have as much opportunity to do that. So if the other option is tacky glue. So there are lots of different glues out there. These are the two types of glue I use. So the Elaine's tacky glue, you'll see I use it often because sometimes the tacket is a little bit harder to get. I was on back order for a couple months on this, and I do have it set to ship to me every month. So the tacket is my favorite, but then the tacky glue would be my next favorite. So the tacky glue takes longer to dry than the tacket does, but both of them have this flex time in them where you have that period between being wet and being dry. It's more of a tacky period where you can go in and manipulate your glitter without knocking your glitter off. So you can go in and just really press your glitter in. You can kind of rub it in if you want to, and you're not gonna knock your glitter off, but you're gonna be able to press it in. So that's where the glues are good. And also, even if you don't want to do that press in, the glues are inexpensive and they work really well. Now, when I use glue, I don't use glue on its own. I always mix glue with water, and I mix it to be like a pancake batter consistency. Now, don't get too hung up on that because you're going to find a consistency that you like that works for you. And your glue's going to dry regardless, whether you make it a little thicker than I do or whether you make it a little thinner than I do, it's still going to dry. It might take a little longer or it might dry a little faster, but it's going to dry. The main thing is that when you apply any of these products, you apply them thinly and evenly. Okay, so if you're going to use glue, which today we're going to be using this over and over, tacky glue, then you also need a vessel to mix your glue and water in. So this is going to be my cup. Okay, so I'm going to put away this glue, put a little bit of water in here, grab my tumbler and the glitter, and we'll get started. I have my tumbler. For now, I'm going to keep the tape on it. I have it painted white, and it's really just a rough paint, but it works. I have my glue. I have my glitter that I'm going to use. Now, when it comes to glitter, I did do a video completely on glitter. I'll link it to this, but you can use any kind of glitter that you want. And let me just show you this. When I talk about Dollar Tree glitter, this is the glitter that I'm talking about. Not the stuff in the packets, but these containers right here. So this glitter, if you are just learning and you're practicing, this is beautiful, beautiful glitter. It looks super nice on the tumblers, and it does a really good job, and it's $1, okay? So you don't have to go out and buy. I mean, I use expensive glitter. I use cheap glitter. I use stuff that I find that I really like. However, I will tell you polyester glitter is the prettiest glitter, and it's the one that definitely looks the best. And that's going to be your more high-end glitter. So what we're using today, this is called Autumn Leaves. And this glitter is from Glitzy Glitter Gal. Okay, so this is what we're going to use today. And then I have a little bit of water in my cup. I have a popsicle stick. I have my glue. Oops. And I have my paper. So I am going to use one of my papers for mixing my glitter, my glue, and putting my over top of my glue, all that good stuff. And then I'll use my other one for my glitter. Okay. So I have just a little bit of water in there, and that's honestly probably too much. I'm probably going to make too much glue. And if you do, don't waste it. Just put some plastic over it and save it, and you'll still be able to use it. I also sometimes keep mine in the refrigerator. I especially keep Mod Podge in the refrigerator, but you know, just plastic over it will actually allow it to keep without getting hard, because you don't want to waste it. All right, so I'm just going to mix this up. I don't know how long it will keep from getting hard. I can't give you an answer to that because I don't, you know, mine never lasts more than, if I accidentally make too much, I'm always constantly using it, so it just doesn't last too long. All right, so this is a consistency that I like. It's kind of like a thin pancake batter type of consistency. Okay. And for my first layer of glue, I'm going to use my Mod Podge brush. I really love these. I like the nice even texture that this leaves, so I like to use that. And then I'm going to, for my pouncing, after I put on the first layer, I'm just going to use a sponge. Now, if I were glittering all the way down, I would again put a solo cup in here with the top cut off, so that I could stick my hand in and hold it, have something to touch, and have something to sit it on. But because I taped off my edges, then I don't have to worry about it. And until I'm done applying my glitter, I'm going to leave my edges taped. Okay? So I'm just going to take my glue, and this does not take much glue at all. And I am just going to go up, make a nice even thin layer. of glue on my tumbler. And you want to make sure that you've got everything covered and that it is a nice, even layer. And as you can see, that did not take much glue at all. So I'm going to just go ahead and turn this over. And I am going to take my glitter and just dump lots of glitter on there. Now, I've seen people, they use all kinds of different types of shakers and stuff, putting their glue on. Their glitter on. I don't do that. And so I couldn't tell you if it makes any sort of difference or not. But it's just not really what I do. And the other thing is, I don't necessarily do any burnishing in until I put on my second layer of glitter. I will go in and kind of pat it in a little bit, but I don't really do any rubbing or burnishing in until I put on that second layer. All right, so I have that first layer on. I'm gonna set my cup right there for just a second, put my glitter back in here. Now I'm gonna turn off the camera and I am going to let my glitter and glue mixture dry. I'll let you know how much time, I'll keep track, and I'll let you know how much time it has elapsed when I come back, okay? And then we'll put on that second layer, and we will then do burnishing after that, okay? It has been 8 minutes. So let's look at this and see how we're looking. Now there's always going to be some fallout because there's some stuff that is just not stuck. All right, so this is nice. So when I talk about burnishing it, this is what I'm talking about. And basically what you're doing with this is you are just really laying that glitter down inside your tumbler, onto your tumbler, very, very, very nicely. And it gives the tumbler, I mean, it starts to look like that glitter is just laser cut into your tumbler. I mean, this is only one light layer of glitter, and I mean, it's just beautiful. Okay, so I know I had originally taken out a green one, but I spilled that blue glitter on my table, and I used that green one in order to clean up the blue. So now I want just a very light amount. So I'm just going to take and just press this over my glitter. Now this glitter that falls off that's had glue on it, I put that in my oopsie bin. I do not put that back into this glitter container because I like to keep that glitter just separate and clean. And I'm just pouncing that glue in. So now I'm gonna, ooh, that's all right. I still want to use this paper. And this is why I have glitter everywhere. I make a mess with my glitter, but I'll clean all that up and put it in my oopsie bin. So now I'm just gonna go back and add glitter. So I feel like there's a spot right through here that needs a little glue. All right, so I am going to let this sit, clean up my glitter, and then we will come back in probably about the same 8 minutes or so, burnish it in, and then go from there. All right, so we are back, and this time it has only been about 7 minutes, and I'm going to go in. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to burnish it. So I'm just rubbing through and just making sure that all of the glitter just lays down. Now, I might knock off some glitter, but that is okay because that's glitter that wouldn't have, that really wasn't attached anyways. And also, in case you guys don't know what I was talking about when I said the oopsie jar, what that is, if you are new to doing this, myself and a lot of people, it certainly isn't my creation, keep some sort of container that you put your glitter in that, you know, can't really go back in its original container because you don't want to contaminate your glitter, but you know, it's also still decent glitter that you can keep. So, you know, you just take it, mix it all together, and it makes some really cool glitter combinations. So I'm just rubbing this in, and I don't know if you can see, I mean, it just makes this glitter just sparkle. Now, you can use the Eileen's Tacky Glue. It works. However, it takes longer to dry. So you don't get quite as good of a end result, but you still get a nice result. And when I can't get the over and over, then I will use the tacky glue, just because it's what we have. All right, so now here we go. Our tumbler is done. Everything looks good. If you have any places, you know, now's the time that you can add anything on that if you need to. Now, the next thing is you want to seal your glitter, okay? So you can seal your glitter in several ways, but you do want to seal your glitter because if you don't seal it, then when you put the epoxy on, you're going to have glitter that moves. So you can seal it with Mod Podge. You can seal it with the glue that you have left over here. You can seal it with spray. I love Mod Podge spray for sealing. And then I also will, a lot of times, just seal with my glue. And when I'm sealing with my glue, I'm just doing the same thing. I've already burnished it, so now I'm just going to go in and just put some glue over it. And this glue I'm just going to let dry and not add any more glitter over top of it, because now I'm just sealing my glue. Now, when you're sealing, a spray is very nice because it keeps it nice and flat and it keeps it just looking perfect. But since I have this and you might not have a spray, I'm going to go ahead and use this just to show you that you can use it. However, with this thin glitter like this, a spray definitely is a better choice. So I would normally use my Mod Podge spray for this. You could use Crystal Clear. You could even use your Loctite spray. Any of that will work. Our tumbler is sealed. Now we have one last step to do before we're ready to put on epoxy. So we are going to take off our tape slowly because we don't want to mess anything up. All right, look how beautiful our tumbler looks. This is going to be so pretty. Now, why did we take off our tape? Because when we are going to go put on our epoxy, we don't want our epoxy to end right where our glitter ends. Otherwise, our glitter can pull off. We want our epoxy to go a little bit above our glitter. That way, the epoxy is a little bit over on the metal and it makes a good seal. Okay, so now we are going to come back in and we're going to put our tape back on, just leaving a tiny little lip. Okay, so we're going to leave just a little bit of a space. And I'm again going to give myself a tab. Now you want this to be even, but if it's not perfectly even, it is okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing down here because again, I want to just give myself a little bit of space for epoxy. And then we'll make our little lip. And there we go. So our glitter is on, and we are ready for our next step, which will be epoxy application. So I'll see you tomorrow for the rest. Okay? Hey friends, listen, I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for joining me. See you later. Bye.